Hello youth group, Hanna here. Today's devotion is going to be on Acts 27. And if I could describe this chapter as like a movie genre, it would be like action adventure. It's really exciting of a chapter to read. So I hope you guys have all already read it, and if not, pause this video and read it and then come back and watch the devotion, or if not, that's fine too. Anyways, so in Acts 27, it starts off with Paul. He's on his way to Rome to appeal to Caesar. So Paul is currently a prisoner, and Paul, he's being watched by a Roman centurion named Julius, who's a royal guard, who's been given the responsibility over Paul so that Paul would get to Rome. And there's other prisoners who are also traveling with Paul and Julius and the captain and crew of the ship. So they're all traveling by ship. And so at some point in the trip, the ship starts facing really harsh winds. And Paul, he warns the captain and the crew that, maybe it's not safe or wise for us to continue on with this trip, because at this point you could say that Paul is a pretty experienced of a traveler because of all the missionary trips and travels that he's gone on himself. But the captain and the crew, they don't listen to Paul, and so they continue on with the trip. And so this is when I'm going to start reading. I'm reading from Acts 27 verses 21 through 26, and from the NLT translation. And at this point, everyone on the ship, they've been faced with a really, really harsh storm in the middle of the sea. And so no one had eaten for a long time. Finally, Paul called the crew together and said, "Men, you should have listened to me in the first place and not left Crete. You would have avoided all this damage and loss. But take courage, none of you will lose your lives, even though the ship will go down. For last night an angel of the God to whom I belong and whom I serve stood beside me. And he said, 'Don't be afraid, Paul, for you will surely stand trial before Caesar. What's more, God in his goodness has granted safety to everyone sailing with you. So take courage, for I believe God, it will be just as he said. But we will be shipwrecked on an island.'" And so if you guys read the rest of the chapter, in verse 44, it says that everyone escaped safely to shore. So if you want to know what happened, read the rest of the chapter yourself. But yeah, there were 276 people who were on this ship. And so this wasn't like a little rowboat. It was an actual huge ship, and everyone found safety. And so what can we see from this chapter? So Paul is in a severe storm. He's in a situation that he literally had no control over. He was in a literal storm. And so we also see that God, he was with Paul. And God was bringing Paul comfort and assurance that he would get through the storm. And so this tells us that, Paul, he felt fear and he was frightened by the storm, because why else would God be comforting Paul? Because you don't really comfort someone if they're not really in need of comforting, you know what I mean? And so Paul, he trusted God. And what's beautiful about the Bible is that we can see what happened in the story and what happened after the story, and so on and so forth. And so we see how God used Paul, and how God used Paul in this situation to strengthen the trust that Paul had in God. And so yeah, I hope that this chapter is an encouragement to you guys to trust God, and to trust God for who he is in whatever situation that you might be in, and situations that you may have no control over, because our God is a faithful Father who comforts and brings us assurance, and who has a plan and a future for each and every one of us. And yeah, that is the devotion for today. I love you guys and I miss you guys, and I think we'll all see each other really, really soon. I hope, probably, maybe. But yeah, stay healthy and stay safe. I love you guys, and bye.